everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Fitness Visibility session. So today we've actually got a guest speaker. So I've got Claudia Dixon here, and she is a German speaking teacher. And I'd like to welcome Claudia onto the show. And we're going to be talking today about how Claudia has been using her Instagram and Facebook business stories to drive her followers into her Facebook business group so that she can share with them some information and everything else about what she does. So, Claudia, would you like to just introduce yourself to everybody? Before you quickly do that, just if you are joining us live and you have any questions whatsoever, please do pop them in the comments below, and do let us know that you're watching so that we can check up on the comments and reply to you as we move through the show. Okay. So, Claudia, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you very much, Anita. That was a very exciting trailer, isn't it? Very catchy, you know?
Yeah, very catchy.
Always dancing to the music.
I know, we were both sitting here backstage waiting for it to finish.
I know.
That's one of the really good things that you can do with Restream is you can put a pre-trailer on, which helps actually to allow the social platforms to let people know that you're live. So some people actually have a lot longer trailer, but something I can show you how to do later.
Yeah, sounds really good. Anyway, I'm Clara Dixon, and I'm a native German tutor and language specialist. So I basically help people to speak German like a native. I've been teaching German now for 29 years, and I still love it. I seem to be loving it more and more because nowadays there's so many different things out there, including stories, that actually help people to learn German and to have fun with it. But also it's fabulous for business owners, I think. But I know we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. But yeah, so that's what I do. I help people to speak German like a native and have fun with it.
Brilliant. So where do you normally do that? So obviously, I know that you teach online. So tell everybody a little bit more about how you actually teach.
Yeah, I basically nowadays I teach purely online. I use Zoom as a platform for teaching because it's really fabulous. It's got an online, an interactive online whiteboard, which is just perfect for teaching. Yeah. And after the lesson, you can actually save it, copy it, and I send it to the students. So they have everything that we do in the lesson, so they have it on a record. And obviously with Zoom, as most of you know, is you can share your screen, and the beauty is the other person as well can act or, write on the whiteboard, exercises. It's very interactive. So yeah, I do that.
Okay. And tell us what your Facebook group is about, because obviously we're talking about how you've started to use Facebook and Instagram stories to drive traffic to your Facebook group in a way. So tell us a little bit about your Facebook group before we talk about how you've actually been using stories to do that.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. The Facebook group is called Learn German with Claudia. So that's really catchy, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty good.
But the reason really why I got a Facebook group is because a lot of my students have like one lesson a week, perhaps two lessons a week, but then there's time in between. And I found that there are a lot of other people in the same boat who are not my students. So I created the group for people to actually have some German, do some German in between their lessons. So my Facebook group has a topic every day of the week. So today's theme is actually speaking. So hopefully there are a few people speaking live, but I know it's a big hurdle to jump over. But so it's different themes. Their exercises, their tutorials, and especially people can ask questions, because that's very often, if you're in a class of 30 or 25, it's very hard to ask questions and get them answered. So that's what the group is all about.
Okay, brilliant. So, why did you start to use Facebook and Instagram as a platform to try and attract new students to your business?
Well, there are different reasons. First of all, it's fun. First of all, it appeared to be quite a fun thing to do. You can very easily have little games, or you can have questions and answers. You can have polls, and you can have quizzes. I really like the idea of quizzes. But I also like the idea that actually it stays when you're looking at the feed. I've put a post in somewhere, and on some people's feed it'll go just down number 200 and whatever it is, whereas in the with the stories it stays at the top. So I quite like that people will see the story, and if I keep adding regularly to the story, my story will be at the top all the time. And the beauty nowadays is that I can put the story on Instagram and it's going to get shared onto my page on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right. So you're utilizing all of the tools within the Instagram and the Facebook app. So for instance, with Instagram, you've been posting in the feed post to attract people with a slightly longer content, and then either a picture or an image. And then you've also been taking that theme as such into your stories for a little bit more spontaneity and a little bit more fun and a little bit more way of using the graphics and things. So that's really good. So since you've been using stories as a way of attracting an audience, how has your group grown?
Well, I've actually looked back at the figures when I started to use stories with you, when I've learned it from you. I've actually had in the time, whether they all came from there or just it's generally really the social media, but I have over 1,000 people more in my group. So that's actually
amazing. Actually, yeah, that's a massive growth. Yeah. So how many do you have in your group now?
I have now 3,100 people roughly in there. So just over 1,000. If I'm looking at it at less than a year in a way with stories, then it's just over 1,000 new people there.
Wow, that's really good. So that's really good. Actually, I'm going to snip that bit out of this video and use it later for lots of promotions. Yeah, I should. So obviously, stories is one part, and you pretty much knocked the nail on the head really when you said that when you use stories and you add to them regularly throughout that 24-hour period, you're always at the top of your followers feed. Because what happens with stories, for those of you that aren't used to using Instagram and Facebook stories, is that they don't sit in the normal news feed that one would expect the post to go to. They actually sit at a very prominent position at the top of the feed. And what happens is that every time you update your story, you get pushed to the beginning of your followers feed. Now, obviously, Claudia's been working with me for a while on stories, and we've been looking at different strategies. And I know you've attended one of my full one-day workshops, and now you've actually signed up for my online program, which I'm launching, and it's on sale now, which actually the cart shuts on Sunday. But this program that you've signed up for, why what do you hope to sort of like learn from that program? Because obviously you're starting to use stories already, and you've just told me that you've had an amazing result from being consistent with stories. So what else do you hope to gain from joining?
I think I still am very haphazard with stories, because there are so many features, and as you know, it's always changing. Yeah. So I think, over the last year, basically, we've done, I've learned so much of how stories work. But I used the other day, I used the swipe up link again, but I had to, even though I've been told a few times, I looked at your great YouTube video and checked it again to do it again. With a course, one of the things that I really struggle with is sometimes content. And also how to join it all together, how to bring all the different platforms together, what to put where and what to put on stories. And really I'm looking to be much more professional with stories on Instagram and Facebook. There's still a lot of play in it, and there's a lot of, I could do this probably better. So really from a working point of view, I really want to integrate stories a lot more into my business as a proper business tool rather than having ads. So I'd like to use stories for that. Okay,
brilliant. So you mentioned the strategy of the swipe up. So not that many people know that you don't actually have to pay for that swipe up if you integrate it into a strategy that I've been teaching. So the videos on YouTube sort of show a snippet of what you can do, but actually working consistently with your stories and actually building that audience up like you've been over the last year. You've been, regularly posting, you've been posting to your Instagram and your Facebook actual accounts, and then you upgraded your Instagram account to a business account so you can have a look at your analytics, see what's working and what's not. And then integrate that swipe up option both in Instagram and in Facebook as well, without having to pay for ad spend and without having to have the 10,000 followers. Because I think there's a big misconception that you do have to have that to get the swipe up, and obviously you do get the swipe up when you hit 10,000 followers, and it's quite a journey to get to 10,000 followers. I don't have 10,000 followers on my Instagram or Facebook either, but there is a way that you can integrate a strategy that you can actually have a swipe up on both of those platforms without the 10,000 followers, and utilize it if you've got an engaged audience, which you've obviously got through consistently sharing to both your Instagram and your feed. So we have a few other little questions. So you mentioned a little bit about utilizing the stories alongside your feed posts and content. What sort of content stumbling blocks do you come across? Like what makes you sort of like question whether you can put content out there?
Do you know, I mean, I can do content like I do in my group and that, but I sometimes struggle with getting it really sounding catchy, because you have a small amount of space and what to put up. And that's why, for example, I love watching your courses or follow your courses, because you've got these neat little ideas, and I thought, oh, that's great, I can copy that. I'm great at copying these ideas, but sometimes, I have ideas, but that's one of the things is the contents, to get it all together and what to put on the post to have them look actually great, professional, and have my brand as well come out in my posts and transfer that into stories as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a way that we've been learning over the last couple of months that I'm integrating into the program, where you basically start off with your feed posts and then you take snippets from that to create your stories. And then what that does is it gives you that theme. So the message that you are working towards, that social media goal that you have, you actually share that message across the platform, not just in one little spot that, so you're actually reaching a wider audience. So the way that Claudia's working with her stories and her feed posts, if you add up the platforms and where people can get their eyes on the content that she's sharing, one single post goes to 4 different places across Facebook and Instagram. So for example, if Claudia was to put a feed post up, so the feed post is the post in Instagram that takes up the 9 squares. So you either put a picture, and I know you're very good at video now, so you've been using Instagram TV a lot as well, which is great. And some of the apps that we've been working together on to create video. So you pop that post up, and then from there you're present in your Instagram stories. You're also present in your Facebook stories, and then you also just change the language a little bit of the post for your Facebook page audience, because obviously sometimes the audiences are a little bit different, and you're capturing a different demographic as well, aren't you? Because you do have 2 different levels of students. So tell me a little bit about those 2 different levels.
I mean, my group, for example, are primarily professionals. Like, yes, there are students who are actually studying at university, but a lot of professionals who are working in Germany already are going to work in Germany or work with German companies, or obviously want to enhance their career. The other group are school children, like young adults, GCSE and A level. They're not really in that group, but they actually I start to connect with them on Instagram. That's why, for example, Instagram is becoming really important to me as well, because they're not on Facebook. Their mums are, but they're not on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so Instagram actually reaches the entire scope, everybody. So the professionals and the young adults.
Okay, that's really interesting. So that's really good. So you're utilizing the stories on Instagram and the feed post because it's attracting a slightly younger demographic. And then
Correct.
obviously you're present on Facebook because you catch them parents. And then I know that you're active on LinkedIn because obviously that's where the professionals are who may want to improve their German, or they want to actually learn German so that they can go up the career ladder in their business or their career, which is really, really good. So thinking about the younger generation, because I know like teenagers learning German for like their GCSEs and their A levels, and then going into university and things. With the introduction of reels inside of stories, how are you hoping to start using that moving forward?
I mean, short tutorials. It's easier. Tutorials are really good because it's just, that is a really great way, I think, of using reels as well. And for the younger generation, got to be short, got to be catchy. And that's really why I like stories as well, because they're sort of not a quick fix, but they are a quick introduction. And if people want to know more about what I do, then they can contact me, they can DM me. So it's just very versatile.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I know when I've seen your stories, because obviously I do follow you, you're a colleague as well and a friend, you do a lot of quizzes and a lot of polls inside your stories, and a lot of questions. So you basically say, write a word up in German, and then you discuss that a little bit, and then you ask your audience in a way to engage with you. And that's one of the really good things about using stories as a business tool, which is that you can get that engagement. And I know that the way that Claudia gets her followers and fans and new fans and followers from Instagram into her Facebook group is through a strategy that I've showed her, integrating Instagram TV with her stories. So that's something that we're going to take to the next level inside the program, because when we're in the program, we're going to be doing lots of work on how to use video, how to edit video, on the go, and some of the apps that we're doing. So I just wanted to say, thank you so much for coming on the call, Claudia, to discuss how you've been using Instagram to attract the students that you want to help learn German online. Because I know that there's been a massive shift in the way teachers are presenting their work, because obviously with COVID, everything has gone online. So I know I'm not talking about teachers that are in a school, because obviously they're dealing with their setup with school. But when you're an independent tutor like yourself, working independently at home via like Zoom, speaking to your students like that, utilizing social media to attract that group of students and their parents and professionals to your business, it's really key. Because a lot of people, I'm a professional, I'm in a like a high level career, I'm never, you're not going to find them on Facebook, but you are. That you go to LinkedIn, they're there for work, but for social, they're on Facebook to socialize with their friends and family. And when you actually post in the Facebook business stories, you do take a dominant position in the feed. So when they're there on there scrolling through their news feed, you're popping up at the very top, being really, really in their eye line, so that they can actually see what you're doing. So it's a fantastic result from building up your audience on Instagram Instagram stories and Facebook stories, and bringing in over 1,000 people to your Facebook group is an absolutely amazing result from using stories for business. So well done with that. Yeah, no, thank you.
Well done to you, isn't it?
Well, it is to me, but it's not, because it's you who has to do it. It's you who has to make that commitment. It's you who has to take that step. And I know that a lot of people who are watching this, or maybe watching the replay, are thinking, wow, that's a lot. That's a big conversion. But Claudia has done that through experimenting, being relaxed about stories. Because one of the biggest advantages of using Instagram and Facebook stories for your business is that you can be spontaneous with it, and you can have a bit of fun. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend hours creating the content for stories. You can actually just really give it a go, because stories, for those of you who don't know, can last up to 15 seconds per story, but they only stay in your stories for 24 hours. After that time, they disappear. So you can utilize them quite well. Now, obviously, there are ways to keep those stories in the insight of your followers by putting them into highlights and actually repurposing the same story. So I would invite everybody here, if you have never looked at stories, to really think about looking at integrating Facebook and Instagram stories into your business. Now, I am running a masterclass tonight, so if you would like to attend that, I will pop the link to that masterclass underneath this video so that you can attend that tonight. That's at 8 p.m. British Standard Time tonight, so you're quite welcome to join me for that. If you are dabbling in stories already but not seeing any results, and you want somebody to pretty much hold your hand and guide you with all the new updates, then I would invite you to check out my program. It is really, 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 really good value. And I'm saying that because I know that what I know, I can teach you to understand and then implement. But I have some amazing bonuses in there, including 90 days worth of energetic content that will help you to put into practice what you're doing. So Claudia's already signed up for the program, and obviously you're going to benefit from that, having that content there basically to help you to just to give you that guidance, really, because when you've learned how to use things, it's quite handy to be able to pull down on some ideas. And like you said, it's the copying what other people are doing gives you that idea and that inspiration to go off and do it yourself. So so thank you so much, Claudia, for joining me today. If anyone has any questions, they want to reach out to Claudia, how can they reach out to you, Claudia, if they are interested in improving their German?
I am on LinkedIn as Claudia Dixon with the D-I-C-K as well. So, and I'm also on Facebook in German with CD Lingua.
Okay.
And on Instagram on CD Lingua as well. So just
put
Claudia Dixon in and I'm there. But thank you very much for today. And I just wanted to say one thing as well when you're talking about the content is that I'm very, very busy. I'm very busy teaching, which is fantastic. And that's where the content also comes in so handy, you know, to get some tips and ideas. And that really helped me a lot in those last 60 days, actually, incredibly. So I just want to say thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me. And we will see you next week for episode 4 of the Visibility Fitness, how to get your visibility fit and healthy so that you can attract your dream clients to your business. So thanks again, Claudia, and I will see everyone else soon. Thank you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.